Hey there, welcome back to Wounds and Wisdom, a secret space for truth, tenderness, soulful growth, and remembering who you truly are. Today, we continue Season 3, The Becoming. This episode is for the part of you who had to grow up strong before you ever felt safe. For the version of you who learned to fight, freeze, fawn, or run because power didn't feel like a choice. For the survivor in you who carried the weight of resilience long before you experienced rest. Today, we explore a new kind of strength. Not the armor, not the performance, not the loud, brittle, survival-made force you once needed. This is the episode where your power becomes quiet, steady, embodied, soft, but unshakable. Because real power does not dominate. Real power does not force. Real power does not shout. Real power is what rises when your nervous system finally feels safe enough to let you stand in your truth. Many of us learn power in the wrong language. If you grew up around unpredictable adults, explosive anger, emotional instability, environments where you had to stay small, homes where boundaries were punished, caretaking roles you never choose, chaos you had to manage, people who confuse power with control, moments where speaking up was dangerous. Then your relationship to power became distorted. You were not taught power as an agency. You learned power as a threat. You learned that the person with the most volume, or the most anger, or the most unpredictable one held all the power. In childhood, the nervous system is shaped by what it repeatedly survived. So your body learned that power belongs to the person who can hurt me. My safety depends on staying small. My voice put me at risk. Being visible attracts danger. Strength means bracing, not being. This is the origin of survival power. It's the type of power made out of adrenaline, hypervigilance, and exhaustion. To cope, you adapt somatically. So you became loud, to be heard in chaos. You became silent to avoid triggering someone. You became agreeable to prevent conflict. You became self-sufficient because no one protected you. You became angry because anger felt safer than fear. You became invisible because disappearing worked. Your system gave you the power you needed to survive, not the power you needed to feel whole. And because power was modeled as dominance, intimidation, volatility, control. So you form the belief, I either collapse or I control. I either disappear or I fly. I either overfunction or I lose myself. And these are trauma binaries. When you grow up in survival, your system doesn't learn nuance. It learns extremes. But here is the sacred revelation. Your adult body is finally ready to hold. Your softness was never the opposite of power. Your softness was the power you were not yet safe to access. So season 3 is where you get to claim it. Somatic psychology teaches us power is not a personality trait. Power is a nervous system state. When the nervous system is dysregulated, it produces survival-based power. Sympathetic power, fight, the sharp tone, the defensiveness, reactivity, control, anger as projection. And this is the part of you that pushes back. The part that feels like the only way to be safe is to take control or fight for space. There is intensity here. There is heat. And underneath, there is the protection. Then we have another sympathetic power, the flight. Perfectionism, avoidance, overworking, emotionally sprinting away. This is the energy of just keep moving. Like if you slow down, something will catch up to you. So you stay busy, you fix, you perfect, you outrun. And it's not because you are weak, but because your system is trying to keep you safe. We also have the dorsal power, the freeze. You collapse, you go into numbness, you shut down. You just disappear to stay safe. And this is when your system says something like, I can't fight this, I can't run. So it slows down everything. You might feel heavy, foggy, distant from yourself. Like you are there, but not fully in your body. And this is not failure. This is protection through stillness. Then we have the fawn power, a peace. You over accommodate, you self-abandon, you start people pleasing, you lose yourself for harmony. And this is the part that tries to stay safe by staying agreeable, by reading the room, by adjusting, by becoming what is needed instead of who you are. And it's not weakness. It is a deeply intelligent strategy to maintain connection when connection didn't feel safe. And here's the truth that most people don't hear. None of these responses meant you're broken. They meant your nervous system learned how to protect you the best way it could. But survival power is not the same as embodied power. And learning the difference is where everything begins to shift. Now let's take a deep breath here and let your body notice where you recognize yourself. Because again, these responses are not moral failures. They are brilliant adaptations to environments where true power was unsafe. So your body was protecting you the only way it knew how. But when your nervous system becomes regulated, is when you enter what polyvagal theory calls the ventral vagal state. A profound shift that happens when power stops being reactive and becomes responsive. And it feels something like a spine that gets straighter without effort. A breath that stays deep during conflict. Shoulders that do not lift to your ears. Boundaries delivered with calm. Truth spoken without urgency. Emotions that move through and not explode. A voice that lands steady, not sharp. Clarity without chaos. Presence instead of performance. This is embodied empowerment. Research on somatic leadership shows that regulated bodies are able to communicate strength without a threat, influence without intimidation, settle a room without words, lead to presence, not pressure. This is why most powerful people rarely raise their voices. Their nervous system radiates grounded authority. So you begin to understand power is not how loudly you can speak. Power is how deeply you are rooted. There is this moment in healing when you realize you do not need to raise your voice. You don't need to defend yourself into exhaustion. You don't need to armor up to be taken seriously. Your power begins to relocate out of your defensiveness back into your body. And soft power emerges through quiet clarity, anchored boundaries, self-respect that doesn't require permission, truth spoken without trembling, stillness that does not collapse, presence that does not apologize. Soft power sounds like no without anxiety. It sounds like I need space without guilt. It feels like that doesn't work for me without over-explaining. It feels like I understand, but I choose differently without fear. So it looks like you breathe, staying deep during conflict. Your shoulders staying open instead of curling inward. Your jaw softening instead of clenching. Your voice becomes steadier, not sharper. Your energy no longer leaking into proving, arguing, or fixing. And soft power is the moment when you stop negotiating your worth, seeking permission just to exist, shrinking to be chosen, bracing every time you speak, or abandoning your truth for peace. Then you start realizing power is not force. Power is presence. This is embodiment of regulated strength. The strength that whispers instead of shouts. The strength that stands without bracing. The strength that rises without violence. Soft power is the return to your center. The integration of your voice, your boundaries, your truth, your safety, your dignity. Soft power grows in the space where survival no longer makes the rules. This is the strength that rises quietly, rooted, steady, unshakable. Not because you are hardened, because let's be real, you no longer need to be. This is the becoming of a self who can hold their own truth without bracing for impact. Let's find a quiet place where you could either sit or stand comfortably. Let your feet connect to the floor. Take a slow inhale through your nose and exhale gently through your mouth. Imagine roots extending from your feet deep into the earth. Stable, wide, unshakable. Inhale again. Imagine your spine rising taller. Your chest softening open. Your shoulders relaxing back. Root, then rise. And repeat this with me to yourself. I am steady. I am rooted. My power is quiet and real. I rise without aggression. I stand in my truth without bracing. My presence is enough. Let your body learn soft power through sensation. If you have time this week, reflect on the following. Where did I learn power requires force? How does my body react when I feel challenged or unseen? What does soft power feels like in my breath or my posture? What becomes possible when my strength comes from calm instead of fear? Who am I becoming when I lead from steadiness instead of survival? Let your answers shape your rise without judgment. You can repeat with me or just let these words land on you. I am steady in my truth. My strength does not need to shout. I am grounded and rooted in myself. I release the need to prove my worth. My power grows in softness. I trust the quiet rise inside me. I lead from a regulated, anchored heart. Let each one land like a calm fire within you. Thank you for stepping into your soft power with us today. This is Wounds and Wisdom, where your pain isn't shameful, it's sacred. Where your healing isn't linear, it's luminous. If this episode helped you notice your own becoming, share with someone who may need this reminder. And if you feel called, please subscribe to keep growing with us. And remember, you are not healing or becoming alone. We are doing this together. Until next time, be gentle with your soul.